I would like to show you how our products are helping our customers to fight back the COVID-19 challenge. And we are looking at the complete end-to-end process, from creating an order, for example, in a pharmacy or in a hospital or from a local government situation. Then the next step of processing the order that is done and centralized by a COVID response team. Then on the next step, handing that over to a manufacturer or producer of vaccine. Yeah? That is, of course, very much an IoT and analytics space. And then last but not least, shipping the vaccine through logistics and delivery companies, that need our software to keep track of the moving assets and also analyze the processes to the very root causes of some issues, how to shorten the time of delivery. You see our Web Methods B2B cloud solution, and you already see the different partners as they are entered into the system. We see, pharmacies, we see hospitals, then we also see the different vaccine manufacturers, and we also see, the partners that would do the logistics and the delivery. And the next step, we see how easy it is to onboard those partners. It's just as easy as sending out an email where the responsible people would get an entry form to enter the data and also click through a sheet for the terms and condition. Here we see, everything has been onboarded except for 2 people that will be done in a moment of time. So you see, we can always see what the status of onboarding looks like, and it's easy to look at that, and the experience is just very nice. Now, if we look at processing the order, of course, this is a situation where many players come together, where different systems have to work together, and where there is a strong demand for getting the information out in a programmatic way. So this is clearly a way to use our API management solution. And you see here the different important APIs that are standardized for the appointment, for the approval, for the authorization, availability check. All these APIs are there. All these APIs are decoupled from the production systems. All these APIs are consumable by anybody, basically. So what does it look like from a portal point of view? So here you see, what the API does from portal perspective. We see, the API that is giving us the availability of doses from a manufacturer. So we can clearly see how easy that interface looks like. We can send it for testing, and we can see easily that there are 450,000 doses available in that context. An information that is super important, as you can imagine. The next step, of course, is really then, issuing the order. Issuing the order means really, get the order description, the order document, and feed it into, an integration flow. So here you see we are simulating this, and we see that the document summary consists out of an ID, a business document, a sender, and a receiver. And then we can watch how this is done in the process flow. Here you see we have the order can go to a variety of manufacturers. We have to choose one. And then, of course, this is submitted. There is another electronic data interface that does the confirmation, and then the whole flow is depicted until the shots are even given to the patients. And what is interesting to see here, this whole user experience is done in a way that even non-technical people can edit this, can create that, and can maintain that. That is self-service integration at its best. The process of producing a vaccine is, of course, a very crucial step in that process. So here we see our Trend Miner time series analytics tool in action, and we see the different time series data charts that are depicting the pH value and the temperature during the production process that we are currently proceeding. So we want to really control that, and we see also the 3-day production pH overview by grade. We see the current values for temperature and pH value. We see that the pH monitor is green, but we also see that there were some failed batches. And we need to, of course, analyze. We want to analyze those failed batches. So we go into the context hub. This means where analytic data and context data come together in one view. And we see a nice Gantt chart where we see the green batches, but we also see the red batches. And here's one where the vacuum quality has been, suffering from a too low or too high pH value. We dive into the data, we dive into the time series data to analyze that, and we want to have a look at how the pH value has been changing over time. And clearly we see here an outlier, we see here a spike to the lower end that seems to be critical. But that's not enough to say something about it. What we need to do is to look what does it relate to. And luckily the system can do a recommendation. So the end user does not need to look and search, but the system is giving the recommendation, the correlation, and the correlation to a high degree depends on the temperature. So we see the amber line is representing the temperature, and you see there is a similar spike downwards shortly before the pH value is going downwards. So clearly there is a correlation. Clearly we have to go into the production line, but we also can look at what is called the golden batch data. So the data of batches that have been going through perfectly. And you see how there is a corridor for the green pH value and the amber temperature, and we see how the actual line is going out of this corridor. So clearly there is evidence something has been going wrong on the production side. Something is going wrong with the production of the vaccine in terms of temperature. That needs to be analyzed on the shop floor using our Cumulosity tool, where all the shop floor devices are connected to our IoT platform. So here you see a technician that is going to the device. The device is connected. We're using AR technology so that this person is getting instructions what to do. You see something is altered, and the system can even give feedback if everything has been done correctly so that we have fixed the problem. Then, of course, we want to track the delivery. We want to track how and where and in what quality we are delivering the vaccine to the endpoints. You see here a shipment overview as a Cumulosity IoT dashboard, and you see that we have 2 and 3 deliveries in the Belgium area. One of the delivery, there are 2 deliveries, and you see there is a temperature on that display saying it's about minus 80 degrees. You know that the vaccine has to be cooled down a lot to stay good. And we see also that there was one shipment that has created an alert that we need to look at. And the alert has been created because there was too much of a temperature change, upwards probably, and we need to analyze that, and we drill down into that device. So you see here this container that is actually equipped with various sensors. We see the shipment details, the customer, the product, and some other data that come through the integration of web methods from the order, right? So you see the interplay of the products end to end. Then, of course, we are measuring the temperature. We are also measuring the ambient light that has an influence, of course. We are measuring the vibration, and we are also looking at the battery level that is, part of that device. What we can see here is that the temperature is minus 74 degrees Celsius, and it's slightly higher than the average. So that could be a problem. But also we see the relevance and the correlation with the ambient light. So probably it was just a period of sunshine on that device that temporarily only made the temperature going up a little bit. So you see, it's very important to look into events where you have to trigger something, but it's also important that you have intelligence in the system that tells you not to do something. That's as good as the other case as well. What we are doing here is really looking at the end-to-end process and analyzing this process to the very detail. So on the left-hand side, you see the end-to-end ordering to shipment process as it runs in the majority of the cases, right? So 95% of the cases, of the shipment cases, the actual deliveries are running smoothly along the lines of this process. And what we are measuring, of course, is the duration. So the duration being the most crucial thing that we want to optimize, right? So you see here the duration from order to manufacturing, and also the duration from manufacturing to the vaccination. Yeah? And you see, I think we have good duration values on the first process step, but then we look at the duration of manufacturing to vaccination. There's a difference, a huge difference. So it can take almost 4 weeks until this process step is being done. So clearly, we want to answer the question: what do we need to do in order to bring down this duration? What is the root cause that is helping us here? And what we do here, we're not looking anymore at the majority of the cases. We look at all cases and all connections. And all of a sudden, we see that some of the process instances, some of the actual deliveries are going through a freezer step, where somebody had to put the doses into a freezer again to get it cooled down again. So obviously, this is a step that is bringing duration up, and we want to avoid that. And we can clearly see that we have to look at, again, to cumulosity, what kind of vehicle was it, which kind of route this vehicle had followed, what was actually the root cause, why this freezer had to be used. And once we have eliminated that step, the root cause for that, we can bring down a lot, the duration of the last step, probably from 4 weeks maybe to 3 weeks at max, and the on average value bringing down from 3 days to 1 day maybe. So that's huge, and it's very important that the principle of process mining that we're using here is really something very different to BI, where it's very difficult to have all the lineage to the root cause. Here, as we have all the very detailed process steps at hand, we can search for the root cause and find it, and then eliminate it. So, all in all, you can see how the products from the different flavors of their capabilities help the customers to fight the COVID-19 challenge. How relevant, the different capabilities are, and how mission critical this is. And that's only just one example of relevance. There are many more that we can talk about. Thank you very much.